Hey guys, how are you doing today? My name is Agnes Bogardi. I'm a laptop lifestyle architect and online business manager. And we actually thought with the lovely Margherita that we are doing here something amazing because we started a conversation offline and we were like, this is something what we have to share with the world, right? It was such fun. Hi there, how are you doing?
Hello, hi. I'm actually very well and I'm already having fun. That's perfectly on plan and on branding, I would say. Yeah, together with Agnes, we were just wondering how to explain what we are about to do. So the idea is that, let's say, as coaches, let's start with that first. As coaches, we were looking for some inspiring and sometimes challenging content in the form of video or a TV channel or something like that could be useful for, of course, our development, but that could be also be useful somehow for other people who want to understand what these new tools are about, what is the value that these things can bring into our lives, and maybe join some conversation around topics that are very common in everyday life for everyone, really, but that nobody talks about, or maybe topics that we talk about with friends and family, but we don't know how to address maybe from different perspectives. So we sometimes find ourselves stuck in a way of thinking that is not taking us anywhere, really. So the idea of this ENLIGHTITUP channel TV is to talk about something that is relevant, that is deep, that is useful, and that can really ignite people to do some self-reflection and grow, self-develop themselves. And it has to be done in a nice and light and fun way. So that's the idea, I guess.
Yeah, and it will change, right? Or we will see where it goes, but it's just such a fun way, I guess, to bring these thought-provoking things what everyone has in his or her life, right? To somewhere where, you know, maybe you can relate, maybe not, maybe it's helping, maybe it will only later, but we really do hope that that you guys resonate with this, because yeah, we just so enjoy doing the chats and the sessions, and that we thought, okay, this must be out there, this is something valuable what for others can be useful as well. So what do you do? Tell me, because we've met just a couple of days ago, so it's not like that we are friends, so it's for us something new as well. So I don't really know too much
about me. Sure. So my name is Margherita. I am Italian. I have been living in London for a few years now. And I started my career as a scientist in the pharmaceutical and healthcare business. So as most of the people would think, I started from very rational and left brain and scientific mind. And now what I'm doing is life coach, energy healing, and I'm still in the healthcare business and industry as a consultant for marketing and communication activities I am part of the Italian Health Coach Association. So that is a part of my interest and business that is still very close to me and I still love doing. But I'm integrating all these skills and all this experience with something, let's say, a little bit different, especially if you think about the energy healing side. So there has been a long journey and a long process of personal development and life experiences for me to get here to this point. Maybe I can tell you something more detailed about that later or in a different video. But there are many stories really that connect and that made me become who I am today. So today I am defining myself as the scientist with the magic wand. This one.
Aha. That's a I'm not sure how others feel about the pharmaceutical industry, but there is these days some kind of, it's like, if it's not necessary, then I don't take anything. And that's why I think it's fascinating, your story and how you went from, it's like the completely different end of the spectrum, but at the end of the day, the goal is to help people to get better and to live their best life. So I guess it does make sense, but it is really it's good. I think it's always nice to see people moving from the something like really Western and really really material, maybe even to something more magical and in the healing direction and coaching direction, where you really not just the biology, but you also do something with your soul or with other soul and the energy of the people. I love that. I totally love that.
So yeah, and of course I understand that it's not a straightforward process if you look at this from the outside, not even from the outside, because I have to be very honest and say that this transformation, and by the way, look at the butterfly here, which is the symbol of transformation, right? This transformation has been quite tough and hard to accept for me as well. So what happened was that, let's say, even before I moved to London, I started somehow to understand, even if I didn't know anything about this at the time, I started to understand that the universe, the energy, the source, the world, life is sending you many signals. And there are some times where you are open to receive the signals and to see them. And there are other times when you are not open really to this kind of communication. So you cannot receive what the universe is communicating to you. And this is the time when you feel a bit lost, when you may feel that you are alone, that you are stuck in your life with no guidance and no direction. You don't know where to go. Even if deep inside of you, you know and you feel that there is something that is not quite right, but you don't know where to go. So there was a point in my life when I really started receiving all these signs, and that was when I had to move to London. Even if I didn't really want to. But
Okay.
somehow the universe was pushing me to come here. And I moved here, and I was still doing my previous job, let's say, which was a full-time in the marketing and pharmaceutical part of the healthcare industry. And I loved that. And I was feeling really proud to be able to work in an industry that is very, very important and very, very relevant for the health and well-being of people across the world. And I actually was very lucky because I had always been working with top companies, top communication agencies, beautiful people, beautiful teams, amazing projects. We were always, let's say, ahead of the market because we were launching many drugs for the first time. So it was really a beautiful job for me because I was always aware of what was going to happen before all the other people knew. So I was feeling really grateful for that and really lucky. And I was really, really passionate about what I was doing because I was thinking that my job was part of a larger project and program to deliver and to make new things and new products available to people in need of this kind of support. And therefore, I was part of something that was transforming lives and changing lives for good. And it was like that, really. But at some point, I found myself wondering if that was it. I mean, is that all, or is there something else that I can explore? And as a scientist, of course, I have the passion to study, to discover something new, to test and to make some experiments around things. And I always want to try new things. So that's how I came across life coaching. So that was the first step that was bringing me to discover and understand something more, let's say, something deeper than just the effect of a therapy or a medicine on a person. So it was probably because I have always been so science-based, the first time that I was approaching the real human part of the human being. And that was beautiful. And here comes the story of the magic wand. So I decided that life coaching was really something beautiful. I saw the transformation happening in my life, in myself. I was really seeing and living these changes as a positive personal development. And I decided that I really wanted to do that as a job or as a part of my job or something. But I really wanted to go for the full training and know everything about that, and become a certified life coach, so that I could really do that as well. And then I decided to go for this professional training. And I remember it was just 1.5 years ago. when I was attending I think it was like the first module or something of the professional training course, and it was about fulfilling. So a very, very deep module, beautiful. That part of the life coaching is really connecting you with your inner self, and you discover so many beautiful inner resources that you have, but you don't know you have. And it's like a haha moment, and you're like, oh wow, do I really have all this inside of me? I've never known about that. So that is really transformational. And one of the things that we were doing on the first day was to understand what our life purpose was. And
that's deep.
Yeah, and it's amazing. It was so much fun, so deep, but still with so much fun. So that's the first take-home message. Something very deep can be fun and can be joyful, and you can do it in a happy and in a light way as well. So sometimes, you know, we have this limiting belief that deep stuff or deep work within yourself has to be boring and heavy, and you can be scared. You maybe don't want to do that. And I actually find that this can be something stopping people from approaching this kind of things, but it's not the truth. So I discovered that with a very beautiful exercise. You can actually discover what is your life purpose. And at the end of this exercise, we had to come up with a sentence describing it. And it is a sentence describing it in a form of a metaphor. And I remember that I received this thought. Like, I didn't really create it myself. I just received it. It was just like a download from, I don't know.
Wherever. Yeah, right.
The universe or something. And the sentence I came up with was, I am the magic wand that ignites people to shine brighter with love.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. And I was, when I received this sentence, I was like, I don't really understand what this means, you know. I have no idea, but I like it. And I mean, I've always liked magic wands and magic stuff and pink things and unicorns, as you can see. And,
oh yeah, right.
I mean, this is really so much me that I have no idea what it means, but I really like it, and I want to keep it. And
I own it.
Yeah. And I own it, really. So yeah, that was the first day, and I just went back home, and I was feeling sort of proud to have this life purpose, you know. I have to say that at that time I was still in my science mind. So I was like, yeah, that's great. I mean, I remember when I was a child, always playing with this magical stuff, you know, all the toys, all very girly and very magical. And it was actually reminding me of that beautiful time. And I was like, oh, that's amazing. I mean, amazing. But yeah, I remember that, I mean, you should be, and you should behave as a grown-up. So maybe it's not appropriate. So yeah, so my brain was getting a little bit in the way, you know. But anyways, I really liked that. And the day after, I was walking to go to the second day of the class. And I'm walking in central London, thinking about my life purpose and trying to understand what that means. And on the street, I find the magic wand.
No way.
And I'm like, wow. I mean, really? And I was like,
wow. That's really a wow.
Yeah. And I remember I could really hardly believe that myself. But at that time, I knew that I was receiving signs because I had experienced that before. So I decided to say thank you to the universe. And I was like, okay, so I understood the message. It's a confirmation, I guess. And thank you for that. Thank you for sending me that sign. But I decided to leave the magic wand on the street because I got back to my memories, and I remember myself when I was playing with my favorite toys, you know, and I said, well, maybe, you know, I mean, I got the message. It's okay. But maybe the little girl that lost the magic wand can find it again. Because I was like imagining the disappointment in losing something like that.
I totally get that. And actually, when you first showed me, I was like, then it was, I'm pretty sure, you know, I almost can see the little girl in front of me. And I'm like, oh, then someone must have lost that, right?
Yes. So I decided to leave it on the street.
Okay.
And I went to my class and I was telling about this experience that I just had. And they were like, oh, okay, that's beautiful. That's amazing. But, you know, they were like, I don't really believe that you really found the magic wand.
Oh.
I mean, but that's okay. That's okay. We are in a life coach setting, so you can be, and you can share all these things in a safe way. And I was like, yeah, okay, cool, fine. And nobody's judging me here, right? Because we are coaches, we don't do that. So I feel safe sharing this experience in this group.
Right, right.
And then I go back, and the next day comes and I'm still walking on the street and the magic wand is still there waiting for me. So,
no way.
Yeah. So that's why I have it, because I got it on that day. And I said, okay, it's still here, so it's mine. I'm going to take it, right? And I took it with me to the class and I said, yeah, you see, my magic wand is amazing. And everybody was really like, oh, wow, it's fantastic. Yeah, it's amazing. It's a good sign. And you will understand what all this is about maybe later. I mean, who knows? So yeah, that's the story of how I found the magic wand.
I love that. I love that. So then you became, but at that time, so this training, where you were right there at that point, is that you can teach or that you become a healer?
So that one was about life coaching. So it was me getting certified as a life coach. So it was that kind of training. Mm-hmm. And 1 or 2 months later, I started my training as a Theta Healer practitioner.
Ah, okay. So that was later on. Okay.
That was later on. And 2 months later.
Mm-hmm.
And when I started that, it was, I mean, if life coach was really, really deep, and it made me see and discover the beauty of the human being, like the beauty that we all have in our hearts and deep in ourselves. And it was really, really transformational for me. Theta Healing was the piece of magic that was missing. So when I started that, I was like, oh my God, this is so amazing. You know, I can now use the energy. I can now talk to the energy because it's different from a normal meditation. I used to do meditation before, and in meditation, which is a very important step, and I really recommend anyone to do a sort of meditation in their daily lives, because it is really a step that is super, super important, because it is connecting you to the energy of the earth, of the universe, of the people and all the animals and all the things around you. But what was really different for me when I started Theta Healing was that with meditation, yes, I am in touch. I am connected to that energy. But it's like, you know, when you are on the phone and you know that there is someone else on the other side, because maybe you hear them breathing. So you know that there is someone else on the other side of the phone, but you cannot really talk to them. It's not an interaction. Mm-hmm. You know you are connected, you are on the line, but you are not able to talk.
I love that. I love that analogy. Yeah.
Instead, with Theta Healing, it's like I can really talk and receive messages and see things and do things with this energy, which is really magic. And I'm like, okay, I really want to do this. You know, I really want to do this. And actually, that was what I did. So over the last, less than 2 years, really, 1 year and a half, I got my professional coach training plus international certification, which is the highest degree that you can possibly have. And I became a certified advanced practitioner in Theta Healing, and I also became a certified Theta Healing instructor. So in the last months, I've done many classes, courses, a lot of work with my clients, both on the coaching side and the healing side, and really a lot of work on myself. A lot. And when I say a lot, I say a lot.
A lot.
many hours.
Yeah, but we do these type of things, right? So
yes.
I started with business 2013 or something like that, and that's how I became the laptop lifestyle architect and more of a business coach, because I was always seeking information. I was always seeking for myself, right, for my own life and for my own business, and that's how we got started with coaching, right? It's like, and you start talking about it, and people are like, boy, you know really a lot, and then okay, that could be something, and you're interested. So cool.
Yeah, and this year I did a very magical course.
Of course you did.
Of course I did. In Theta Healing, like the most magical one, like really the biggest one. And I told you it's really magical. So we did some beautiful exercises, and one of them was to connect to an ancestor who wants to come and talk to you.
Okay.
Yes, I told you. I told you. We are really going into
the magical.
Into the magical. So, yeah. I hope I'm not losing people out there, but anyways, you know, the ones that are really interested can stay and are very welcome. And if you don't resonate with it, you are very welcome to leave as well. But I think it's a beautiful story, so, you know. So, yeah, and I just want to add to that we were also using crystals to make it more to make it much deeper and more magical. So you will know probably later, that apart from the magic wand, I really love crystals and I use them as well. So yeah, they are part of my toolkit as a healer as well. So so I'm connecting with an ancestor who is a lady. Like I see her because I see these visions. So this lady, she's a very wise lady, and she's so cool. So she lives, she shows me that she lives and stays in this little house in the woods, and she's an alchemist. And alchemy is another science that I'm very interested in, and I'm studying it at this very moment. So she's an alchemist, and which of course also resonates with my biotechnology background when I used to work in the lab doing all the experiments with the DNA and the viruses and the proteins. Yeah. So I really resonate with this woman, and I think she's really cool. So she comes to me and says, "Oh, hello, hi. I want to show you something, because, you know, I think it's very cool and I think you will enjoy it." And I said, "Sure." I mean, I've never had this kind of conversations or visions before. So yeah, I'm really curious to know more about you. So she shows me that in this little house in the woods, which is also a sort of lab, when she does experiments and she does all her stuff, she's actually preparing some potions. And she told me that one of the most powerful potions that she prepared was something that she is showing me in that vision. And it's like a color, like a violet or purple kind of color. And she says, "You know, this is a very powerful one. And I created this for a woman that was asking me about something that could put together beauty and power."
So interested. We are all interested.
Yeah, me too, actually. So I was like, "Okay, tell me more. How did you do it?" But she didn't tell me that. So she said, "Well, you know, I'm just showing you this because actually I'm a very good alchemist. So I did a magnificent job, but this woman was not good-hearted. So actually I regret preparing this potion for her because she didn't use it in the right way." And I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." So the message was that you have to use your skills and your powers in a wise way. And then she shows me something else. So she shows me that she's preparing this other potion, which is a sort of light pink color, let's say like this. And she says, "Oh, I'm really, really proud of this, you know. This is the potion that is all about unconditional love. And I think everyone in the world should have this potion." And so she showed me that she was actually putting it in small little bottles. And she said, "Yeah, I really need to do that because everybody in the world, they need to have this. But the thing is that I still don't understand how I will send these bottles to everyone around the world. But I will think about that later." And I was like, "Oh, this woman is so cool." I mean, okay. So the exercise is actually about to finish. And I said, "Okay, so thank you for showing me all of this. But now I need to go. I need to move forward." And she said, "Oh no, where are you going? I mean, I still have to show you the most beautiful thing that I have ever created." And I said, "Right, let's see that." And I saw her just preparing something. It was not a liquid potion, it was something else. And it was of a color that it was sort of in between the violet and the pink potion that she did. And it was actually something solid, like a stick. And I was like, okay, I don't really understand what she's doing now, but let's see. And when she was finished, she actually showed me that she created this.
I knew it. I knew it.
And I was like, I can't believe that. I mean, no, I must be crazy. I must be, I mean, maybe it's a vision. I mean, it's too weird. I mean, it cannot be true, really. It's too much, even for me that I do believe in these things. It's too much. And she said, no, you have to believe in that, because I did create it for you. And actually, you know what? I wanted you to have it because when I create this magic wand, I use that to change my life, to transform my life, to manifest all the things that I wanted. And it is a very powerful tool. So you should have it. I want you to have it. And now that you have it, because you found it, I want to give you another present. And the present that I'm giving to you today is actually the password to use it. And I'm like, is there a password for the magic wand? Really? And so she gave me the password. And she said, yeah, so now you're good to go. You can go. Bye. And that was it.
She is cool. She is cool.
So now I have the magic wand and I have the password, which of course it's a secret password, so I'm not going to tell you.
Of course.
But yeah, that's the story of the magic wand. And I actually have to say that I can see that this magic wand is working very good when I use it with the password. So I can manifest things, I can create things. I use it with my clients as well. It's actually a tool for me to understand how to make decisions in my life. I even carry it in my bag, and now I'm not afraid anymore to take it out when I'm, for example, in a social setting. So at the very beginning, of course, you can imagine that as a scientist, I had so many blocks and resistance to share this story, to share the magic wand, to make other people see me using it or even carry it in my bag, right? Because I was afraid of being judged as a completely like mental and crazy.
Yeah.
And of course, I was afraid of fully embrace this magical side of me, which is actually a big part of myself, my life. And I was a little bit ashamed of that. And so I was not really confident in having other people see it. Because, as I said before, it has been a tough process for me as well to embrace this side as well and make it actually part of my professional life. And of course, that has been a tough but beautiful process where I learned many, many things. First of all, to accept all the beautiful things in myself, even if they may not be understood by other people. And I think this is a very important message also for those who are listening or watching us, which is don't be afraid to accept and be and embrace and love who you really, really are, because that is who you are. And who you are is making you the magnificent human being that you are. So there is no point in hiding. There is no point in be afraid. There is no point in wearing masks, because that is only creating frustration, pain, anger, resentment, shame into your lives, which are very low vibrational energies. And instead, just learn how to embrace the beautiful and magical things that are part of your person, of your soul, and just play with them, you know. I mean, to live a happy life, a joyful life, we need some lightness, we need to play, we need to be vibrating with higher frequencies. And actually, since I integrated all these parts in my daily life and in my professional life as well, my life has become so much easier and much more fun and much more successful in terms of business. And my creativity is not blocked anymore, because I'm not ashamed or afraid to make other people see this. And actually this video, it's still a big stretch for me, I have to say. So I'm just honoring myself for being here and sharing all of this with you and with anyone that is willing to watch this. And yeah, this is definitely who I am now, the scientist with the magic wand.
I love that.
Ignites people to shine brighter with love, as a coach and as a healer.
I love that.
I love it. I just love it.
That's a magical story. And also it's, you know, think about it, who are judging you, right? So it's like, does it really matter if people are judging you? Do you give a damn about that? Or are those people who are important to you? Are those people who, you know, put something down on the table already in life where you say, okay, maybe I should listen? Or are those people who are, you know, just, I don't know.
So that's the key question, actually. So I believe that we are learning from everyone, and we are teaching everyone something. So we are all the mirror of each other, of one another. So actually, I have to say, I experienced through my journey, through my whole journey, even people close to me, that, you know, when I was taking and making decisions that were not really mainstream, like changing job or do something really, really different, or just taking another path, just because I was feeling that I had to do that. So I was just trusting it. I didn't know where that path would have brought me to, but I knew in my heart that I had to do it. So all these people that maybe were afraid, or maybe they were just concerned that I was not going to the right path, so they were actually people that loved me, and they did that because they were really concerned and they wanted to make sure I was making the right choices in my life. So they did that from a place of love, of very deep love and support. But the way that they usually did that was like looking at me and say, are you really sure you want to do that? I remember even when I decided to start my Theta Healing journey, I had a lot of people looking at me like, I mean, are you really gonna do that? I mean, really? Do you really think that is gonna be a job?
Oh yes, I
yeah,
could talk about that. Yeah,
yeah.
online business.
So
Yeah.
you know, all the faces that people can do when they hear something that is really, let's say, unusual, and I understand that, but the thing is that yes, I want to do it. At least I want to give it a try. Of course, I have no idea. I am not sure about what is gonna happen next, but I trust that if it's something that my heart is telling me that I really have to do and I really want to do, it would be the right choice for me. And of course, I don't have any guidance, let's say, or I don't have all the answers, and I mean, I don't have anyone guiding me through this. It's just me and my heart and my intuition, and of course all the signs from the universe, which is a very big part of the guidance that you can really have. And yeah, I just want to do it, and let's see what happens. And this has been actually yeah, this has been my let's say my strength lesson, my courage lesson, my acceptance lesson, my confidence lesson as well. Because at some point, by doing all the work on myself, so both coaching and healing, I realized that all these people were mirroring me and were mirroring my fears and my doubts about myself. So it was not really them. Well, it was, but it was also me having all these doubts in my mind and in my brain. And actually, I had a few crisis moments when I realized that I was the one not really embracing, loving, and believing in what I was doing. I was the one trying to sabotage my path in a way by not believing in all of this and creating more and more resistance. I was the one doubting and thinking that I was not good enough. And I had a lot of beliefs and fears to work on. And one of them was, for example, the fear of being visible and to share all of this, which I hope I have overcome today with this video, with the start of this channel. And
I'm so proud of you.
Yeah, thank you. And actually, me too. So well done.
Good.
But it took me a long, long time and a lot of work. And I have to say, a lot of tears. And I went through, yeah, different kind of emotions and situations. And some of them were uplifting and exciting, and some others were really tough and not negative, but at the very low end of the spectrum. And you know, we are usually told to avoid this kind of emotions and situation because we just have to live in the happy world, and we have to show up in the world with a smiley, happy face. It doesn't matter what you are going through on your inside and how you feel, because feelings are just something that is not good. And we, well, not we, all of us, but many people I talk to, they say that they have been taught that showing and sharing emotions and feelings is not good, and that actually the goal for us in this life is to control our emotions. And when they say control, they mean sort of shut down and not let them come out, which for me, I can understand that, because I was actually coming from that side. Just to give you an example, I learned that it was possible for me to cry just a few months ago. So I didn't have the permission, or at least that was one of my limiting beliefs, that I had to show up into the world as a strong person, and you are not allowed to cry, because if you cry, you're weak. And it's not good for you to show your weakness at all, you know? No. And so I really learned how to cry, and that it was possible for me to do so a few months ago. And
is it uplifting? Is it uplifting, or is it it's freeing, isn't it?
It is. And it is tough at the same time, because I don't know, maybe it's another story, but yeah, I will share it now because we are here. So, and I actually feel in a very safe place with you. So thank you so much for that. Because this is actually the first time I'm talking with someone publicly about all these things. So
I'm really honored.
And so what happened was that my mother passed away in May. So she had been ill for a long time. When I say long time, I mean nearly 15 years. So it's a long time. And she was a very, I'm still afraid to say something, but you know, because I feel the energy here. Because now I know that, yeah, she's not here in this physical space, but she's actually here. So yeah, but I think she doesn't mind me saying that. So she was a brilliant mother, but very, very strict. And actually very, very tough sometimes. It was not super, super easy. And sometimes, to be honest, I wish that she was a little bit softer. But the thing is that she was a brilliant teacher to me in teaching me about strength and resilience, and how to be independent, and find the courage even to do and to make difficult choices. And she was challenging me a lot when I had to make the decision that I made. And that challenging process, sometimes it was quite hard. And if a couple of times I had a crisis this year with her on these topics. But that was also the beautiful part of my journey and my development. So I'm very grateful to her, even though it was really not a super easy process all the time. So apart from that, she of course was raising me, me and my brother, yeah, because this is common in our family, I would say, in a very rational way. We have a lot of values and a lot of things that we learn that are important within the family, within relationships, as let's say in the behavioral aspects of all things in life, and I'm very, very grateful for that. But always with a very practical and evidence-based mindset, which of course was clashing a little bit with not the life coaching, but the healing at the beginning.
So I can see that.
Of course, I mean, I was the one that was skeptical as well at the beginning. But then I was like, oh, I'm so excited because I found my magic. Yeah. But she was not seeing that part at the beginning. So she was very, very skeptical. So I tried to use these tools to help her with the disease, with the healing as well. We did a lot of work together, especially at the end of her journey. But at the beginning, she was like, I can try some coaching, but I don't think the healing is something for me. And I said, okay, so let's try some coaching. So I did that. And at some point, she wanted to try the healing as well. And when she decided to go for it, she was actually seeing all the benefits and all the, I would call them miracles as well. Just to, I'm not going through the whole thing because it takes a long time to be told as a story. So maybe we can do that in a separate video. But the most amazing thing we did on her disease and on her body was last Christmas. So I was home for a couple of weeks. So I had a lot of time to spend with her. And by the time she was already at the, well, heading towards the end of her journey. She had a surgery, the last surgery, two surgeries in September last year. And you could see that she was never really fully recovering from that. So you could see that, you know, the energy level in the body was lower and lower. Because it's just that the body is exhausted after all these years of surgeries, medical procedures, exams, and many other things. We somehow knew that we were starting doing a sort of preparation for her death. Not exactly at that time, it was not in the conscious mind yet, but if I look back, I can see that now. So basically, apart from other issues that she had to deal with some unexpected and very acute pain that nobody ever understood, never understood how it was created, what was the cause for it, and how to get rid of that pain. So even the pain management was kind of tricky and not always easy all the time. And when she had these very acute episodes, she had to be hospitalized with morphine, but still she was not able to recover so quickly, and the pain, even with morphine, was not really going away straight away. So we were like, oh my God, I mean, how can we do this? You know, because it's so it's such a hard thing to go through for her, but also for us who are here to help her and support her. How and what can we do? And apparently there was nothing to do. So when I was back home last Christmas, she was suffering from all these pains. And they were so, this pain was so bad that I remember a few times at night, she would come to my bedroom and come into my bed and asking me for a healing. And she said, I mean, I don't want to go to the hospital, and because of course it's a trauma every time you go there. And but I don't know what to do. I'm taking all these painkillers, but they don't work, and I don't want to go there. So you have to do something. I was like, right, okay. So I started doing ThetaHealing on her, on the pain. And I was told by the energy through my intuition that the pain was not caused by the disease, but was caused by all the memories stored in the brain and in the body. And in the energetic body and in the emotional body as well, coming from everything that she had to go through for the last 15 years in terms of medical procedures, medical examinations, surgeries, even words that were that she was told by doctors. And I was like, right, okay. And when I started this healing with her, which took a few days because there were so many things, you can imagine 15 years of that. I was so shocked because one of the biggest and deepest pain that she was experiencing, one of the worst one, the one that she was really crying because of that pain. And as I said, we were not allowed to cry, right? So if you see someone crying in my family, it means it's really, really bad. And so that point was about the shock and trauma and the pain that was created by a doctor after the first surgery that she had back in 2005, so 15 years before. So it was an emergency surgery, the first one that she had, where we discovered, well, when we were told that she had a cancer in the intestine. So after that surgery, she was diagnosed with that disease. But before, until she did that, we didn't know why she was not feeling good and what was going on. So you have to imagine that she was waking up from the surgery, from an emergency surgery that lasted, I think, something around 8 hours. Where she had a very long section of the intestine removed. So it was like a massive surgery, you know. And imagine you wake up in this bed in the hospital with nobody around you. You don't know what happened to you. You just know that something, happened to you because you are there with all these things attached, and you don't know why you are there. You don't know what's happening to you. And the only thing you hear is someone outside your room talking to someone else. So this doctor was talking to someone else. I don't know if the other person was another doctor or a nurse, saying, oh, you know, this woman really needs an oncologist. And that was it. That was the way that she sort of found out that she had an oncological disease, a cancer tumor, which back in 2005, it was like hearing a death sentence, you know, because of the perception and the collective consciousness around cancer. Now it's different, but back then you hear the word oncology and you're like, oh my God, I'm going to die.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And when I was doing the healing work on her, on this specific point, she was like crying all the tears that I think she hadn't cried the whole life. And I was so shocked, because I was like, okay, I mean, we are not even talking about the surgery itself. We are just talking about the sentence that someone said, you know? So that was like a aha moment for me, saying, wow, this is really the power of the words, the power of the energy of the words and the thoughts, and how they can really hurt people. And I was like, when I actually cleared that, and I cleared the trauma and did the healing, that pain went away. And I did the same with all the pain points that she had in the body. And that was the reason why from January onwards, basically she was not taking any painkillers at all. So she was a terminal patient, a terminal cancer patient, as we would say today. Well, we can discuss about that, but yeah. So you would imagine that it would not be possible for someone at that stage not to take any painkillers, because you have never seen that before. And that was actually what was happening. And I remember she was telling me, yeah, you know, there is a nurse that comes to visit me every now and then, and I haven't seen this person, this nurse, since November. And she was asking me about the painkillers and how I was doing with my medications. And I told her that actually I'm not taking any of them. And she was looking at me saying, what are you saying? It's impossible. You know? What does it mean that you're not taking any painkillers? And she said, yeah, no, I'm not taking anything really. And by the way, my mother was not taking any drugs either. She stopped taking pills a few months before. So she was not really taking any therapy, let's say. And when I asked her, okay, but I mean, when the nurse asked you, how did you do it? What did you say? And she said, I didn't say anything, you know. I didn't want to receive any negative thoughts or any doubting energies or words or fears from anyone. So I just, I just left the conversation. And I said, yeah, well done.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the wisest thing you could do, I guess. And yeah, that was really the truth. So until May, the day that she died, basically she was not taking anything really. I remember I was giving her something just to make sure, you know, on the last days. But she died in a very peaceful and blissful way, in her bed, without any dripping, without anything really. And you know, it was, beautiful things in life are other things, but it was a beautiful experience as well. Of course, very sad, and she passed
Of
away.
course, of course, of course. No, I know what you mean. I found it so fascinating, actually, that what I hear from this story is that actually your life went the direction where it went to help her actually in these last months and last year. I find it, I get goosebumps.
Yeah. And if I can share another thing that connects everything really, is that so going back to when I had to decide if I wanted to start the professional training for coaching, which of course was a big investment in terms of time and money as well, because personal development, it's an investment on yourself on every aspect. So you have the money, you have the time, you have the effort, and the dedication that it takes to stay present, and the commitment that is needed for you to go through this. And it's not always easy, so you have to really be very motivated and committed. So it's really an effort. So before doing that, and by the way, I was still working in the pharmaceutical industry, so I had a full-time job. So I was doing all of this on the side, in the evenings, on my weekends. So it was a huge investment. So before I decided that I wanted to do that, I had a session, like a hypnosis session with a lady, because I really wanted to understand somehow if that was the right path for me or not. I really wanted to receive a sign. So I decided to go to this lady that was doing past life regressions. And I have always been so fascinated by the topic, but I couldn't find really anyone that I trusted, that I wanted to do that with. And a friend of mine just told me about this lady in London that was doing that. So I said, okay, I will book an appointment, and I did. And she asked me why I was doing that. Well, because you can use these techniques to fix some issues, or to understand some problems in your lives as well. So you can do that with ThetaHealing, by the way, so that I learned how to do it with ThetaHealing. And I said, well, I don't think I have an issue really to work on, but I at this point in my life where I'm happy, I'm satisfied, but I feel that something is missing, that I should be doing something else, or something else on top of what I'm doing now. And I don't understand what this something else is. So maybe I can just go back to some previous lives and see if I get any sign. I think it's a brilliant idea, right? And she said, okay. So
it is actually. That's why it's there. The tool is there.
Who knows? Yeah. For me, it was a great idea, so I did. So actually, I was not able to see any of my past lives.
Oh, and okay.
No, nothing, really nothing. And I was feeling a little bit frustrated. And by the way, afterwards, when I was doing ThetaHealing, I understood that I had a lot of blocks preventing me from seeing past lives because of the fear of what happened. And then I worked on those, and now I'm able to access these things. So that was the reason why. So I didn't see anything from my past lives, but I was able to access my higher self. So the higher self is a maybe not so familiar concept for everyone. So basically, and it was not a familiar concept for me at the time either, because I had no idea what a higher self was. So basically, let's say it's the spiritual part of yourself. So I saw my higher self in the form of a sort of spirit, a sort of ghost, you know, like a whitish something. And I knew that it was my higher self. Don't ask me how I knew, but I just knew.
You know it, you know it. When you see it, you know it.
Yeah, exactly. It's just that you know it. You feel it and you know it. And I saw many people, and the first one, at the, let's say, biggest one in the higher self version that I saw was my mother. And she was standing in front of me, slightly on the left, so on my left. And the image that I saw was her higher self basically giving me the hand and taking my hand and moving me forward. And I was like, I don't really understand that. I mean, I do, somehow I do. It sounds familiar, but I don't really understand. And the lady, when I was saying this, she was explaining to me that, oh, okay, you know, sometimes we as souls, we do contracts or agreements with other souls. And what you are seeing when you are shaking each other's hands is that you have made, you have likely made an agreement with your mother. And this agreement, based on maybe something you know, is what is moving you forward. And immediately, as soon as she said that, I thought, oh, okay, so the agreement looks like my mother's disease. It's like through her disease, I am walking this path in my life, which is a big part of my life, which has taken me from the lab to the business development of biotech companies to the pharmaceutical communication and marketing side of the business, and now to this new path that is opening up for me. And actually, I have to say that up to that moment, there had been a lot of coincidences between what I was doing in my job and how what I was doing in my job was serving my mother. So when I was in the lab, I was in a very popular and famous hospital in Italy. So I had a very good network of people that I could talk to about my mother. So I was able to make the best choices, I hope, in that moment for her. And I was able to support her with the right knowledge. And at some point I was working on a very breakthrough project for personalized medicine, where basically based on your disease sample, they would tell you what is the best medication for you, so that you can understand which one is the most appropriate treatment for you. And now I was in this space where I'm talking to the higher selves, and I'm like, right. So I guess that there is something on this path that will help us both. Also because, of course, the disease for me was a personal development journey through what I'm doing and what I've become now. and it has taught me many, many things and many, many virtues. But it was also a journey of personal development for my mother. And she always said that without the disease, she would not have become the better person that she became at the end of her journey. And now I can see that, of course, it's a program, so we can cancel, delete that, and replace it with the happy personal development journey that you can do without having to manifest the disease.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, of course. But that was basically the agreement. And now I can see, because we have gone through the whole thing, and the end of this journey for her on this plane is over now, that actually life coaching and theta healing really helped me moving forward, but helped her a lot as well. So that was really the kind of agreement that we were seeing back then. So yeah, as you see, there are many, many stories that maybe you don't understand in that very moment, but they are all connecting us together, and they are all part of what we are, and what we are, and who we are becoming. And if you trust that, it would be for your highest and best. And so this is one of my biggest learnings, really. And this is why I was willing to share these stories, because I think it's very important for other people to know how important is it to stay present so that you can see the signs, and stay true to yourself so that you can really receive signs from your heart as well on what you are supposed to do, what you are really wanting to do, and not be afraid of other people's judgment or limiting beliefs, or thinking that maybe you have to wear a mask because otherwise you cannot do the job or live that life or be with those people. This is not the truth. And actually, this is the beauty of the job that I do now. I really help people moving forward in their authenticity, with their true, beautiful life, according to what their heart desires are, and freeing them from all the limiting beliefs, all the fears, all the blocks that are preventing them to live the life that they deserve and they want to live, and they should be living, really.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Yeah. Thank you very much. I think I'm still under, under the story, because it's just such a, there is always a message there. It's really about the journey, isn't it? It is really about the journey. And I can't wait to hear more of these going on.
We are just at the beginning, right? So just to go back to the magic wand, I wanted to talk about this. Now that I can, I allow myself to do that, because it has been a very central part of my life journey so far, and it has been a very big sign from the universe. And I wanted to share the story with you and all the people out there, because these things happen all the time. These things happen to you all the time. You just need to have your eyes and consciousness open to receive them, to see them. But they are all over you. For example, I always find things on the street always, all the time. And sometimes I know what they mean because they are a message for me in the here and now, and I'm really laughing. Like, for example, there was a time when I was working with myself, and with other people as well, on communication issues. And so the theme for those days was communication. Okay, cool. And communication means communication. And on the street, I'm walking and I find a keyboard. Like, a keyboard on the street? And I was like, okay, that is really, really funny. You know, that is really, really funny. And then another time I found a mirror. And I said, okay, I know this is a reminder that we are all mirroring each other. So it's also a reminder for me that I'm learning from other people. So instead of judging them for maybe a behavior that is irritating me, I know that they are just a mirror for something that I need to work on. So I went home and worked on that.
Yeah, the mirroring, that's something what from the first moment I want to talk about that in the next episode maybe, or sometime, because that's definitely something what I don't want to accept that. It's like no, that no. So you will need to convince me that it's really like that, and I think it won't be a happy moment for me.
Oh no, cancel, delete that.
Yes. Cancel and delete.
Can be.
Oh, thank you very much. It was amazing, and I think we could go on and on for another 2 hours. But let's keep it here, and then in the next time, guys, we will talk about. We don't know yet. We will channel something, whatever comes, and whatever you need to hear. I guess that's another one, right? It's the message is out there.
Yeah, and actually, I would say if there is anyone that maybe has some questions or has been triggered by anything we have discussed or said today, feel free to post some questions or comments so we can maybe take the next conversation from there, and we can talk about something that can be useful for the people out there. Yeah, sure.
Definitely. Yeah, if something resonated, if something didn't, if something, you had the same experience, or what are you finding all the time on the street? Maybe Margherita can tell you, because I'm not, what that means. But yeah, that would be really, really, really fun conversation. So thank you very much for your time, and thank you very much for you guys to listening and watching to us, and speak you next time.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.